Hello friends. As many of you know, I am a massive fan of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, and because of this, any game that comes out that looks like it's kind of going to be like Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, I tend to jump on. So obviously there were the Zelda Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, which came out in the early 2000s, and there have been many attempts to do really kind of good 2D Zelda-likes since then. I don't tend to play the 3D ones. Obviously I liked Ocarina of Time, and I like Majora's Mask, and I quite like Wind Waker. But I've somewhat infamously gone on record as saying I don't really like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. They don't feel like Zelda games to me. I did quite like Link Between Worlds. Link to the Past actually is one that it's fine, but I've never been particularly blown away by it. But I know it's a good game. It's just not really for me. So anyway, the last Zelda-like that I played, like really proper Zelda-like, was Master Key, which was 2-bit, black and white, essentially. And I coloured the map in, and I did loads of stuff. I spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on that map. And I started playing Elementallis a few days ago, with no real intention of actually doing a map for it. But the more I played, the more I really liked the artwork, the sprite work, and the more I was struggling to get my bearings. So I ended up having a little bit of a play around and seeing what I could do, and seeing how difficult it would be to put a map together. And this is the result. This is a 1:1 scale, just about, of the overworld of Elementallis. And I do mean 1:1 scale. So 1 pixel is 1 pixel. So I can't shrink this one down any further or it'll look a bit shit. Unfortunately. The way I did this was a little bit hacky and a little bit cheaty, and therefore actually if you were to go through the game world and screenshots, this wouldn't quite line up right. The way I did it was through hacking the camera, and I hacked it to a very specific distance so that I could basically fit the entirety of a zone 1 pixel per 1 pixel. And for the most part, it worked absolutely fine. And then for some bits, it's ever so slightly smidged things out in a particular direction, or it squished things ever so slightly by a pixel here and there. Most people aren't going to notice unless you really are, zooming in to 500% or something and really going around like that. The other problem, such as it is, with this map is that Elementallis is a game about returning the elements to each zone. And the problem with that, from a static image map perspective, is that returning the element, i.e. completing the temple in each zone, changes the appearance of the zones. So the fire zone, the volcano zone, for example, in the top left-hand corner, it returns the lava. The foresty zone, it makes everything brighter. The snowy zone, it gets rid of a lot of the blizzard. The windy zone, it actually makes it windier. The beach zone down in the bottom corner here, it starts off wet and rainy and dark and ends up bright. So what I've done essentially is use a map of what it looks like after you've done the stuff. No routes are changed. You know, nothing is changed in terms of there's nothing blocked off or so on and so forth. But it looks cleaner this way. And because there are things like ropes that you can drop and vines that you can grow, it's that kind of stuff, I felt it was more sensible to do it this way. Now, keep in mind, as I say that there are going to be, on the version of the map as it stands as I'm recording this, there are going to be things that aren't complete. So, for example, if I go to stuff over here, there are going to be places that don't have the vines and so on and so forth. I needed to take a break because this has taken me quite some time to put together as it stands, because I've been having to play the game and keep track of wherever everything is and so on and so forth. So all I've got here so far is the overworld, and on it we have got the map vendor. He shows up in each zone. We've got pieces of heart. We've got energy shards. We have got bag upgrades. No, wallet upgrades. We have got map markers that we can find. We've got teleport points. You've got the 16 journal entries that you can get, and they are numbered so that you can find the ones that you are missing. We've got the elemental ore that you need to upgrade your weapons. Things in purple are the gems, minerals, or whatever they're called, that allow you to upgrade your spells, or you slot it into a slot and you can have one upgraded spell at a time and you have to swap it out. So it kind of looks like there's not a lot being done. You know, it doesn't look like this should have taken all that long, but it has. Because not only have I been doing screenshots for the map of the overworld, but if we swap over to this actual document, I've been doing screenshots of everything. So this is the overworld as it stands, and I just copied this and pasted it into this document for working. But this document has got, as well as the overworld, it's got the inside of all the buildings, it's got the inside of all the caves, it's got the insides of all of the dungeons. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't know if I have the time and energy to turn each of these into this kind of map. Keeping in mind that the map as it stands is literally just basic collectible things. There's still a load of chests which I haven't annotated with anything. We've got shop vendors, we've got caves that need linking up, we've got explanations for bits and pieces. None of that is on here. You can ignore him, he's not real. That's why he doesn't have the icon on as is. But yeah, there's so many chests which contain currency or potions or so on and so forth. There's so many things that aren't on here. But I'm not sure I have the energy to turn all of this into a full guide, because this feels like it's going to be 50 plus probably hours of work to turn it into the kind of guide that you would normally get from me. So for now, if you go to demajen.co.uk, you will find a copy of this in the Google Drive under E for Elementallis, and that is all there will be so far. And I'm going to make up my mind at some point as to whether I have got the energy to do all of the dungeons and so on and so forth. Because there's going to have to be a load of stuff done for the dungeon maps. Where's the fire dungeon gone? This is the first dungeon. So, yeah. I'll make a decision on that at some point. It is, as I said, it's going to be an awful lot of work. And I don't know whether I'm going to enjoy it enough for it to be worth it. So, you can go and download this. Because of the fact that I can't actually shrink this, because it's 1:1 pixels, there's no kind of higher scale version of this or any of that kind of stuff. It's just there in the Google Drive. If you want to support me for the work that I've put in on it, that'd be cool. I might put out a supporter pack on coffee.com, but I haven't organised one at the time of recording this video. I just figured people might want to know that this is available. I know that there are guides available in Steam, on Steam, rather, for the locations of all of these things anyway. So, you know, it is what it is. But I figured, you know, the important things, get them on a map, show people where they are, and maybe potentially leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to leave that there. I've had a really good time with Elementallis. I haven't actually finished the game yet. I do still need to complete this bit, which is the final dungeon. I haven't zoomed in to see what is in any of these places. But it looks, yeah, it looks like it's going to be an interesting one. So we'll see what that's like. Until next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.